We know that we need to be meeting new people regularly, building relationships, and kind of setting us up for long-term success with regards to donors, connections, all of the things. And part of that is networking, but sometimes it feels a little bit stressful or inauthentic, or how do we even find and meet people? And now, after COVID, the digital space, it's more and more common to be doing virtual connecting, virtual networking, and meeting people in ways that we couldn't really do before, or it just wasn't as popular. And so now I have Steve Ramona as my guest today, who's awesome. And he's just the master networker. And he's going to share some tips and resources and mindset things for how to really approach marketing, networking, connection, and coming from a place of service and adding value. Steve Ramona is the host of the Pantheon Alliance Mastermind and has a current membership of 45 million millionaires and billionaires. He is the founder of the #1 ranked small business marketing podcast with thousands of followers and is a super connector, helping people build partnerships and joint ventures. He discovered networking was the real deal at a very young age and is on a mission to teach the world how to network correctly using his #1 ranked podcast, Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. There's a whole lot of goodness in this episode as far as how you want to think about your approach to networking and meeting people, specific goals to set for yourself, and how to kind of build that referral network so that you have more people coming to you through your network of people. And eventually, you don't have to go out there and have cold conversations, right? That's what we're going for, because you're getting real, genuine connections. My marketing business relies on referrals, and I don't market my one-on-one services because we get them all from referrals. And instead, we come here on this podcast to serve and educate and help you with your digital marketing growth at scale, right? So there's so many things that you're going to get from this episode, so I don't want to delay. But before we get into it, this episode is brought to you by our June freebie, our new quiz, Are You Ready to Collaborate? It's going to ask you some questions for you to consider about what types of setup you have in place for collaborating. Are you ready? Is your staff ready? Do you have the right parameters in place? Do you have the right thought processes in place, ideas, all of the things? So this short quiz will just let you know if you're ready to collaborate or if maybe you need to put a little bit of foundational work in first. So head on over to thefirstclick.net/resources, check out that quiz or any of the other free resources that we've launched this year. I can't wait to hear which ones are your favorite. For now, let's get into the episode. You're listening to the Digital Marketing Therapy Podcast. I'm your host, Sammy Bedell-Mulhern. Each month, we dive deep into a digital marketing or fundraising strategy that you can implement in your organization. Each week, you'll hear from guest experts, nonprofits, and myself on best practices, tips, and resources to help you raise more money online and reach your organizational goals. Hey friends, please join me in welcoming Steve Ramona to the podcast today. Steve, thanks for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, and I love this because we met through a connection. You've connected me to a bunch of people that I've had more conversations with, and all of it virtually, which I love. And so I just think this is going to be a super fun conversation for organizations to kind of think differently about how we network, collaborate, and kind of meet new people. But before we kind of jump into that, I would love for you to just kind of share why you're just a master connector, and kind of why is that something that just excites you and fuels you up and that you love to do?
Thank you for the kind words. I think it's the power for every business. I call it the people asset business. No matter what you do, you need people. You need people to like you. You need to build relationships with the people. You need to have that network. And I use the phrase, your network's your net worth. And I've proved that even the last year was my best year ever financially and networking. Because changing some things and learning some things as I do. I'm 62, and that's a big statement. But I've learned as I share with others that working with people, bringing them value, serving them. Yeah, are you going to get paid right away? No, this is a long-term game. The short-term game is transactional. The long-term game is transformational. You're not going to transform somebody on one show, one call, but you're going to build to that as you're building that relationship.
I love that. And I think what is also so great is as you as each of us individually continue to move and network and meet new people, it's kind of like the more that you kind of throw things out in the universe and have questions and conversations and stay connected, like then it just continues to, like the door just continues to revolve, right? There's more and more people that you can continue to meet and connect other people to that makes sense, if you're building these authentic, true relationships.
Correct. I get 3 to 10 referrals a day. And I say that because if I can do it, anybody can do it. This is not, I'm not going to go play basketball in the NBA. I'm 5'8" and too wide and too short to do that. And that's okay. But when it comes to networking, everybody can do it, but there are certain ways to do it. Pitch slapping is what I've heard from a previous networking owner. I love that phrase. We don't want to do that because I always say your business marriage is like your personal marriage. You didn't marry your wife or your husband the first day you met him. You built a relationship, and you're always building a relationship. And that's why a business marriage, if it's a really good one, goes on and on. Here's the flip side, though. There's divorce. And a lot of times there's a reason for divorce. As a servant's heart, you have to say no to some people. I've had to do that the last year. And that's not bad because I'm serving myself and I'm serving that person because there's not a fit there. They can go out and find a good fit for them, and I can replace them with a better fit or a more reasonable fit for me. It's not a bad thing. It's actually a really good thing.
No, and I really appreciate you saying that because we talk a lot about that with our messaging and with our clients on the marketing side of things, in that if you are trying to talk to everyone, you're going to waste your time having conversations with people that aren't ever going to give or donate or participate in your organization to begin with. And I think in the work, and the things, collaborations and building partnerships and networking and things that you're talking about, if you, like you said, if you say yes to everybody, you're going to have a lot of wasted conversations that you just don't have time for.
Yeah, and that's true. I'm going to kind of put a little side note on that.
Yeah.
I try to meet everybody that I'm connected to, respect, because I always talk about the opportunity door. What are doors? They open and close, open and close. A wall, once you go past that wall and it's closed, you can't get back. But these are doors opening. And I introduced a guy to somebody that sells Mary Kay or something, $50,000 a year. But his cousin was vice president of Google. And like, well, let me introduce you to my cousin. He's like, so you never know who people have in their network, who they know. So how to solve exactly what you say, you don't want to spend a lot of time that's not a fit, is make those meetings short. And if it's a 30-minute meeting, within 5 minutes, you don't know, find a way professionally to say, hey, I appreciate it. I need to move on. Hey, thank you for your time. Yeah, that's important. I used to do that. I used to meet people for an hour all the time, and it never went anywhere, 10%, 20% of the time. What could I have done with that time if I didn't go that long? So that's always a caveat to this as well.
Well, let's talk. I think that leads to asking better questions and kind of understanding, okay, this might be a long question. We obviously want to enter into conversations with an open mind and an open heart. We are not trying to close a deal on the first meeting, like you said earlier, 100%. But at the end of the day, we do kind of want to know, or we're having a purpose behind the question, right? We're meeting with somebody because either we can connect them to somebody, or because we're hoping to get a connection with somebody that's going to help us get to our goals, whether that's the person we're talking to eventually or somebody else that they know. But it kind of comes with thoughtful questions that you can ask to get to know somebody, so that you can make those thoughtful recommendations. Like, I know when we had our first conversation, you just kind of hit me hard right away. Okay, what is it that you do? What are you looking for? What, very direct, but you got out of me right away some of the things that I am looking for, so that what you can and cannot support me with. And I think sometimes we don't do that in those conversations. And so we kind of maybe waste time because we're not actually trying to listen and pull things out of people that can kind of help us all have that win-win.
I'm going to shock you here, so be prepared. Great question, first of all. You're a great host. Audience, this is a great podcast. That's a valuable question for everybody. So the first thing is shut up and listen.
Mm-hmm.
We shut up a lot of the times. If you think of the Brady Bunch Zoom meetings we're on, I was just on one an hour ago, and somebody just disappeared. Well, yeah, they shut up, they muted, but are they listening?
Mm-hmm.
So you take that and do that. And this is my secret sauce. I'm going to give it to you. I shut up and listened. We'll use him. I shut up and listened. And I thought as you were talking, I asked thoughtful questions that this is the important thing. Questions that will lead to how can I bring value back to you? And you lived it. You saw exactly what I did. It wasn't, hey, you're a podcast host. I've got a huge podcast. Here, pay me this amount of money and I'll mentor you. I never said, they probably don't even know I do that. And people go, you're freaking crazy. I said, no, I'm not, because I'm building relationships, in this case with you, Sammy, and I can grow our networks and share our networks. So shut up and listen and ask those questions. And here's a quick secret. Introverts, you're great at this. Because I'll give you 3 questions. If you ask those questions every time you meet somebody, I guarantee you'll have a good meeting. Will you have a sale? Maybe not. Will you get people in your ear? Maybe not. But you will leave every time with high energy and going, I'm glad I met so-and-so. I'm glad I met so-and-so. And I hear that a lot. And it's a powerful legacy I'm leaving. And if you call it a brand, I guess it's my brand. It's awesome. But again, anybody can do this.
Yeah. Well, and I think how refreshing if you're meeting with a new company that you want to sponsor your organization, or you want to, you're trying to meet new potential donors, like how refreshing for that person that you come in just wanting to get to know them and asking them questions about, how you can support them. It kind of flips the script a little bit. They're coming in expecting you to hammer in all of the things that you do and how they, you need their support. But if you can make it about them, I think that's just a way to have a deeper, longer lasting conversation and encourage future conversation, so that you can also just put it together in a way that speaks to their motivations and their values versus just talking about you all the time.
I'm glad you mentioned nonprofits. That's my next niche. And we're going to talk more after this down the road. But yeah, you get a potential donor. So I have a nonprofit, and Joe Smith comes in and he's my donor. Yeah, he's thinking we're going to talk about the nonprofit. I'm going to go shut up, ask a question, shut up and listen and learn about him. And go, you know what, Joe? I've got this person you need to meet. I think they can help your business. And I've got this resource. And I give him value. What's the natural human response? Steve, how can I support you? Here's the trick. I don't call it a trick, tip. Here's the tip. What I would do is not say, hey, donate to my nonprofit. Go, hey, Joe, who do you know that's passionate about my mission and my nonprofit that would like to help fund us or donate to us? Don't even ask him directly, because what's going to happen? 2 things. They're going to, hey, I've got a couple of people, I don't have anybody. Or they have a few people and they're going to go, I'd be interested in donating to you as well. You've brought me so much value. And then you get into the sales conversation, or in this case, donation conversation. It's such a powerful tool. And it's easy, because if you get no, that's great. You've built the relationship, because I gave them Christmas gifts. So when I talk to people, when I meet with them, in my mind is value, and I've given Christmas gifts every time I meet people.
Well, and I think it's just different. And I think going back to what you said, if you're an introvert, this is great, because now you don't need to worry about how you have the conversation. They lead the conversation. So I guess the thing for me with this is, we had a great conversation. You then rapid fire sent me a ton of connections with people that you thought would be good based off of our conversation. What does that process look like for you? How do you stay organized as you're having all these conversations to say, okay, I'm going to connect these people, and this is what we said, and this is what we talked about? Because I think that's another place where people get stuck. They might have these great conversations. They might learn a lot from this, but then they don't do anything with that information to be able to nurture it long term.
Yeah, that's my superpower, that I'm learning how to teach other people. So here's how my mind works and we'll use our conversation. You had mentioned a couple of things. I don't have my notes with me. Take notes, by the way. I learned that I didn't do that before, but take notes. I mean, it's a small thing, but I didn't do it for a while, and I go, Who do I want to introduce Sam? So I've got an iPad here. I use a notepad here. It's right next to me, and as I'm taking notes, have it accessible to you. But I'm thinking, for example, I met Melanie on my show yesterday. We got done, and she talked about she helps authors write books. So I thought right away, oh, I know a ghostwriter. She's written 85 New York bestsellers. I go, Melanie, and shout out to Melanie. She's a great gal. I said, let me introduce you to Shirley. She goes, oh my God, Steve. Yeah, I'd love to meet her. We could collaborate. What did the energy do? It went from, hey, this is good. Oh my God. What did it cost me? Nothing. What did I gain?
Right.
Nothing. Except my universe changes. We don't know how, when, or where, but when I put out good, it comes back to me. And a real quick, I got 3 months ago, I got a call from a billionaire who owns a multi-million-dollar network marketing company. He said, I want to work with you. I've heard your podcast. It went over his whole mission. Be one of the biggest contracts I ever signed. I know it's because I help people like you, Sammy, to bring value, to think how to move people forward. My mission is to think outside the box, help people grow, and make sure they take action. That is my whole purpose in life, in my business, and I try to do it in my personal life as well.
Yeah. And so do you find that as you continue to put this energy out there and connect people, that people are reciprocating that with you as well? Because I think, if we're busy nonprofit leaders, it's like, okay, well, I don't have enough time to be like networking and connecting other people. I need to be networking and connecting myself. So like, how do we kind of get into that abundance mindset to, like you said, play the long game and understand that every energy we put out there is definitely going to come back to us, 2, 3-fold.
You know what? Nobody's ever asked that question. That is an incredible question. That goes back to network. I mean, this is so good. Audience, listen to this. As you build your network, if you have 5 people in your network, well, I meet you, Sammy. There's not a lot of people I can refer you to that I know. But if I have 5,000 or 500, then I can delve into that. And on a quick note, CRM spreadsheets, you could pull it up when you're talking to them. Sometimes there's tons of software. You can reach out to me and ask, or Sammy, I know you have some stuff as well. That's the way to do it. But also go out and find resources. Another side note, if you want to make some side money, we used to call it side hustle. I'm 62, so side hustle was the big phrase 10, 15 years ago, network marketing. But go out to your network and look for people that have a product or service that you love. You don't have to really be using it. That always helps. And go, hey, Steve Ramona, I see you have this CRM. We'll just stay in that mode. I'm using it. Do you have an affiliate or referral program where I can get paid commissions for referrals? Ask. 2 things happen. They say no, or they say yes. And I have 30 of those right now. I just added 31. Yesterday, I got paid $300 in 5 minutes showing people some affiliate programs that I work with that I think are super value. And I shut up and listened and bring that back again and said, hey, you need to take a look at this service. I think it'll help you. And she's like, oh my God, this would be great for me and my clients. Boom. Find those resources and have tips as you're listening. Like on YouTube, there's a way to put podcasting category. And I did that with one guy within 5 minutes of the conversation. He's like, hey, I've got this. I said, ask the question. Are you on YouTube? Are you categorized on YouTube as a podcast? I have no idea what you're talking about. Within 5 minutes and a share, he's like, Steve, and he sends me referrals monthly all the time because I'm top of mind because I brought value.
Yep. Well, yeah, and every time he goes to YouTube to upload his video, he's going to think of you too for giving him that tip. So I mean, like that value add can continue to stay. I love that. Okay, so then you mentioned something. You kind of said this kind of quickly, but you mentioned that you like to connect people, and then you like to ensure that they're following up on those connections or taking action on those connections. I love that. So what does that follow-up look like for you? Why is that so critically important, in this process to kind of building those authentic relationships?
I go back and forth with this, Sammy, because I do 3 to 10. I did 15 referrals yesterday. I might do 20 or 40 referrals a week. That's a lot. So I follow up the ones that I know there's probably a partnership collaboration with. Most of the time, when you do an email, I do email introductions with my video, and I'll get back somebody who will respond. So, I don't do a lot of follow up, but if you're doing few referrals and you're building your business, that's the best thing you do. Hey, Brandon, just check in on that referral. How was it? How did it go? And again, you're building rapport. Now I'm on LinkedIn, and people see me on LinkedIn a lot, so they're seeing me or aware of me. Now my world's starting to collide with people. Hey, you need to meet Steve. Oh, I met him 2 weeks ago. I mean, Steve, I met him 3 months ago. It just happened yesterday.
Yeah.
So the other thing with all this follow-up is keeping in mind your time. Always think of revenue-generating activities. Another great tip for an entrepreneur, meet 10 to 15 new people every week. I will guarantee you, one, your network will grow, so will your income. I will not guarantee how much, but think about it. You meet 10 people this week, they give you 5 referrals. That's 15 new people. So next week, you're walking in with 15, you meet 10 new people, they give you 10. That's 20, that's 35 new people in 2 weeks. Let's take the 10% rule. That's 3.5 people that either be partners, clients, or somebody in your inner circle. So now you've added 4 people that you're going to work with. And that just keeps adding. Every time you meet 10 to 15 new people, it's like compound interest. I call it compound people interest. Just let it expand. And then people get to hear about you. And then, you bring value to all 10 of those people. They're going to come back to you somehow, some way. I got a referral 3 weeks ago from somebody I met 6 months ago. We've never kept contact. Hey, you need to meet Steve. Oh my gosh, he's got this, and this. And audience, think about if you're receiving 3 referrals a day, what's your business going to look like?
Yeah,
and quality referrals too, because you're
right. I think quality referrals is something that, like, I know, at least for my business, like, that's something that's taken time, because the way that I was talking about who I was looking for wasn't clear enough. And so I was getting a lot of referrals from people that couldn't afford my services or weren't ready to actually step into that space yet. And so I think that comes with clarity, right? In the conversations that you're having with people. But, like, as this starts to ramp up, like, if I'm sitting here thinking, okay, I want to have 10 to 15 new connections in person, that might feel like a lot. Or so kind of, is that a combination of, like, okay, maybe I'm doing like authentic outreach on LinkedIn, not spamming, but like, really thinking about who I want to have conversation with? Is that like joining certain mastermind groups or like cohorts with people that might be in a similar space as me? Is that like having conversations with people in the coffee shop while I'm waiting in line to get coffee? Like, how do you kind of make sure that you get all those touch points in?
Those are all great ways, fantastic ways. I'm getting referrals, so my calendar's pretty booked already. But those are ways when you meet people and they resonate with you and they've qualified for you, and be gentle in the qualification. They may not fit what you do because they don't make enough money or have enough clients. But again, who do they know? If you're struggling with that, you're not in enough networking groups, and all the great things that you said, here's the easiest way. I got a lot of tips. Is that okay? I love giving tips. Again, I'm bringing value to the show. So go to your calendar, because this also means somebody you talked to 6 months ago. I want audience, everybody, and you, Sammy, think, how much has changed since 6 months ago in your business? So if you met Tony 6 months ago and you met him again next week, how much more can you share with them? I just had a guy connect with me on LinkedIn. We hadn't talked in a while. He goes, hey, if things have changed, I'd like to connect you and tell you what's happened. So just take your calendar, go through all your appointments, and pick and choose. Oh, yeah, I love Tony. Jenny was great. Debbie was great. And reach out, go, hey, it's been a while. Let's do a follow-up. Those are considered new because you're reconnecting and maybe reminding them, or maybe. And let's think about in 6 months, how many has people has Tony met in the last 6 months that might want to be a client for you? We're meeting people all the time. So follow-ups are great. Here's the other tip. And I'll try to explain, it's easier to show, but when you open up your Google Calendar, On the top right are nine dots. You click on that, hit contacts, pulls up all the contacts of the people you met. I had 4,800 people in that contact list. Probably one of the bigger ones I've seen. But because I'm out networking, but I took that and went through it and found more people that I could connect with. If you had 100 people in that list, go through them. Maybe there's 10 people. There's your 10 people for next week, and maybe another 10 people for the next week. But remember, as you're doing 10 people, they're introducing you to people, so that's filling your 10 to 15 goal every week. So there's many ways. And here's a quick note. If you don't have a newsletter, jump on it because it's such a powerful tool to stay top of mind. You can take that whole contact list. I took 4,400 people. I sent them an email. Quick question. I'm starting email, a newsletter with great value. If you want to unsubscribe, that's great, but look forward to some great content I'll be sending. I have 3,200 people from 800 into my newsletter. I get feedback all the time now. Great way to increase your engagement. And a real last quick one, you should have a workshop. So the people that don't qualify, that you don't want to do a one-on-one with, because it's just not, they're not a fit, build a free workshop once a month and go, you know what, Steve Ramona, I've got this great free workshop. You don't really have to tell them they're not a fit, but just say, hey, I bring value every month. Why don't you come? I'll teach you marketing. I'll teach you podcasting. I do a podcast. I host a workshop every week for free. There's 5 to 10 to 15 hosts that show up. And I do that to change the universe. Sorry, I went on a long rampage here.
No, that was all great. That was all great stuff. And I think for nonprofits, I think the concept of doing like a group coaching session or an event or a live event like that feels like outside of the realm. But I think so many of us serve the people who give to us as well. So, if you're like a pet rescue, like the people that are giving to your organization are probably also the people that are rescuing animals, right? Your after school care program, not everybody is donating, but they're participating. And if I'm a parent, like you can still provide value to me, even if I'm not going to have my kid go to your program, right? Or whatever it might be. And so I think I love that because it's a great way to stay top of mind. It's a great way to position yourselves as experts in the arena that you're in, and a great way for you to like share more about what you do without it being like here's all of the things, here's our impact, like in a more kind of warm and fuzzy, value-driven way. So I think that that's a great idea. And not a lot of organizations are doing things like that. So it's just another great way to stand out and build trust. And also, sorry, one last thing. See, now I'm taking a page from your book. It's a great way for people to refer people to you, because you can say, hey, like if you know somebody that could be interested, we hold these free workshops every single month. They could get to know us in a way that you don't have to request for a one-on-one conversation. You can get to know us a little bit more and then decide if we're the right fit to continue to have a conversation.
And the cost, there's really no cost. If you're using Zoom, right, you're paying for it already, or you use this great, Squid with Descript. It doesn't cost you anything, but the bang for the buck is so great.
Right.
And make them short. 5 minutes, hey, you're welcome. 10 minutes of the tip, and then question and answer. And this is another way to go when you meet your one-on-ones to bring a resource. When you bring all this value, most people go, hey, how can I support you, Steve? I'll help you. It's cool. And I tell people all the time, I get this podcast workshop that I do. It's free. Send people to it, or you come to it. Really? Oh, that's really cool. There you go. You just brought them value.
I love that. What is kind of maybe we've talked about introverts already, and the questions and stuff is a great way to get started. But do you have any other maybe pro tips for people that know this is what they should be doing, but are nervous to kind of get out there and ask for those conversations or ask for those referrals?
That's the big thing is ask. Ask people for referrals. For my podcast, I reach out to some people and go, I'm looking for extremely successful business owners that are influential. And this guy goes, how about Dr. Ivan Meisner, the founder of BNI? I said, you serious? I said, yeah. I said, I'd love to have him. Next thing, I got an email the next day and talked to him, and he was on my show. Lee Steinberg, sports agent. I reached out to him on LinkedIn and said, Lee, I've been following your history. You're local from me. I'd love to have you on my show. Sure, let me have Adam reach out to you as assistant, and we were on the show 4 or 5 weeks later. Those
Mhm.
are people that never would have talked to me without a podcast. Not saying you need a podcast, but if you're able to and willing to, some way to interview people, maybe it's a LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube Live. I'm preferential to podcast because there's so much you can do, but you don't need to do that. Finances are a problem or you're not comfortable.
Mhm.
But try to be comfortable in video because that messaging on video is so much more powerful than the written word. We've talked about that.
Yeah, and do you think that it's easier for people to say yes because there's less friction, right? They don't have to drive somewhere. They don't have to prep for a big speech. They can just kind of turn on their camera, fill it in a 30-minute time slot on their calendar. It's easy lift for some of these like people that you might want to have that might have seemed way out of reach before, but if you can do something that provides value, then it's just an easier yes because they don't have to work so hard to get it to happen.
I also learned in the last year, everybody has a message and everybody wants to talk about it, especially
Mm-hmm.
very successful people, celebrities, professional athletes that have retired. They're starting a business or starting something philanthropic. It's they never would have met me if I didn't have a podcast. That's the power of it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I love that. So ask. So just get over yourself and make the ask because what's the worst thing they're going to say? No, right?
No, no. And I've
Yeah.
done 387 shows. I've had one person say no because they didn't have time. And she'd circle back 6 months later.
Mm-hmm.
She's going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Just, and I got so many yeses that I've gotten booked up. I mean, I probably have 40 shows booked till July, which is great.
Yeah.
I'm no complaint at all because there's more ways of getting people like you in my network. That's the other thing. What a powerful way to build your network. So another side thing in all this.
Yeah. And the podcast episode that came out last week is all about guest podcasting. So if you're hearing what Steve's saying and you're like, well, I'm not ready to start my own kind of podcast, that's another great way to still get out there and collaborate and meet people. So go back and listen to episode 261 for all things guest podcasting. Now I just totally lost my train of thought. Steve.
Well, I'm going to help you with that.
Oh.
So real quick on the guesting, that's brilliant what you said, Sammy. So brilliant. If you're not comfortable or don't have time, guesting is, I'm guesting here. I think every podcast host or anybody that has a brand, you need to jump on shows. Guesting is a great way to build your brand. So thank you for mentioning that.
Yeah, no worries. So Steve, do you have like a favorite place right now? I know you said that your content or your referrals are kind of coming to you just because you've built your network. But maybe if you think back to kind of the beginning when you were first starting to ramp this up, like just out of curiosity, was there a favorite way that you found that you made the most authentic connections, like a channel or an avenue or kind of
Really,
what worked best for you at the beginning?
it's the warm referral has been powerful. And I'll tell you another story. Had Mark on my show, very successful financial advisor, has a terrible story where he was paraplegic for a year. They thought he'd never walk and he healed himself and he's doing some great things with words and connecting. If you check out my podcast, Mark Jacobson, The 4 Words That Kill Connections, unbelievable show. But he introduced me to a gentleman named Maury. Well, he just sold his company 8 years ago for billions and billions of dollars. So I meet with him and we had a great meeting. This guy's way above me, but I love working with people that have done better than me. I could learn. ABL, always be learning. And he goes, okay, Steve, write a script for me and I'll introduce you to some heavy hitters. I mean, people, hundreds of millions of dollars. You know how many referrals I got? 12. Probably worth about $3 billion in total in income.
Wow.
And I'm meeting with 2 or 3 of them. I'm going to partner with one of them. Bring value, treat people great, build relationships, be authentic, and that can happen as well. And here's the thing with your business and networking. I figured this out a week ago. I'm here. Always be mentoring below, learning above. Meaning, If I'm doing $250,000 a year in income, if there's somebody here making 50, 60, 80, 100,000 a year, always be mentoring them, helping them, guiding them, educating them. In this case, Maury, I learned from him. He mentored me. He showed me some things. He fixed my introduction. He goes, I wouldn't do this. We went through some iterations, which is great. He said, I don't want to be a pain, but he gave me a multi-million-dollar resource. Always be learning above, be mentoring below. And I think the mentoring below is missing a lot because we're afraid to give out our IP. Give it all away because nobody can do it like you can.
Yeah. Yes, I agree with all of that so much. And I think especially in the fundraising space, we're scared to share what's working and what's not working, or not what's not working, but we're scared to share what's working because we are afraid that somebody's going to take that. And then with that, we'll end up taking my donors and my donations, which is just simply not the case. But I love that you said that, because I agree with that 100%. And I think the more that we can kind of come at our businesses with an abundant mindset, whatever you do, the more that comes back to us. And so I agree with that. Steve, I know we could talk about this stuff all day long, connections and building collaborations and all of that. You've already given us like a ton of really good nuggets and sound bites, which we will be repurposing for this podcast. But kind of any last words of wisdom that you would want to share with folks as they're kind of starting to work through building out their network?
Everybody can do this, and I learned this 3 years ago. Get better 1% every day. It doesn't matter what it looks like. Is it reading, meeting new people, working on your business? But get better 1%. It's May 23rd right now. We're kind of in the middle of the year, so there's like 6 months left. Let's use 5. That's 20. That's 120%. You'll be better by January 1st, 2025. I want you to think about how much better will you be as a person, and how much better you'll be as a business doing that. And then the last thing is just practice serving. After you've listened to this incredible podcast that Sammy's done, go out and practice and make it intentional to serve. And I'll use this tip. Start on Monday. Doesn't matter what day, but Monday's always good. I want you to write down everybody that you've served and how you did it and how they felt. And I have a serving journal on Amazon. If you want to have a journal to do that, you can. And you don't need it. You can just put it on a piece of paper. Do that for the week. And Friday and Saturday, I want you to summarize it. Go back through all of that. Hey, and if you miss one, that's okay. I want you to go through 3 things. 1, how did that person feel? Kind of summarize that. Oh, she was happy. I helped her with the groceries. I opened the door for her. Oh, the dog, help. The baby looked pretty. Go through all that. Go through how you felt. Put one word, happy, whatever it may be. But to me, the most important thing is I want you to look through the whole week and see how much your week has changed. Did you grow? Did you feel better? And did you have positive energy? I think you will, but you let me know.
That's so cool. And I think that practice, it's kind of like a variation on a gratitude journal, right?
Yes.
But serving versus kind of how you've been served. But I would think just psychologically, paying attention and being thoughtful about remembering those actions, you just start to see that you're naturally doing it more and more often.
Yeah, and here I'm going to give you an example. A real-time, live, well, it's going to be recorded, action. Audience, if you've listened this far, you've noticed I edified Sammy a couple of times on here. It was authentic. It was true. But I'm always thinking when I'm on a show, how do I edify my guest and my host? It just comes natural. I think foremost, that's my first thing. So I hope that helps because it's helped me tremendously.
Yeah, that's so good. Okay, well, Steve, you've mentioned a couple of resources while you've been on here. I know you love to connect with people. So if people want to reach out, connect with you, and learn kind of more about what you do and the tools that you have, how do they do that?
You can find me on LinkedIn. I live on LinkedIn a lot. Steve Ramona, SteveRamona. You can text me at 408-642-6288. Have any questions, I can send you a calendar link and we can connect, or you can send me yours. Spend 15 minutes with you and go over this. I also have 2 my podcast workshop. It's once a month. Reach out to me and I'll tell you when that is. And then I also do business education. What we did today, I do every other Monday at paywhatyoucansupportgroup.com, Thriving in Life, Business and Life. And we'll have the link for you and you can jump in and you can pay me nothing or pay me whatever you want. It's up to you. But I'm there to educate and teach people how to do business better with networking.
I love that. So good. Well, Steve, I really appreciate you taking time out of your day to be here and share all of your amazing words of wisdom and tips and techniques with my listeners. So thank you. Thank you for your time.
You're very welcome. God bless you. God bless everybody.
Okay, so I have to know, which tip was your favorite? You can email me hello@thefirstclick.net. I would love to hear kind of what was your biggest takeaway and what you're most excited to get out there and do. All of the tips, resources, and things that Steve mentioned can be found at the show notes, thefirstclick.net/262. So for now, thank you so much for choosing our podcast to listen to. I really appreciate you taking time out of your day to listen to the Digital Marketing Therapy podcast. If you love it, please make sure you hit that subscribe button wherever you listen or on YouTube and leave us a review if you don't mind. It just helps us get this podcast in front of more people just like you that need support in their digital marketing and fundraising needs. For now, thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one.